SpongeBob's home, Bikini Bottom, is the result of nuclear testing. Some of y'all have probably heard this theory before, but for those of you that haven't, yeah, all these fish are basically just infected by chemicals, and there's a lot of things going on here. They are all horrible mutants that resulted from nuclear weapons testing. This actually happened in real life. Nickelodeon's official synopsis of the show states that Bikini Bottom, the town of SpongeBob SquarePants, duh, is actually part of the real-life Bikini Atoll. Right underneath it. Bikini Atoll was an actual testing site where the US set off nuclear weapons in 1946. Why did they do that? I don't know. Just to observe their effects. Basically, a bunch of guys just wanted to see stuff blow up. One bomb specifically was detonated underwater. The resulting explosion was photographed, and every explosion that happens on the show, which happens basically every other episode, is an exact replica of the photographed explosion. So, they are showing what happened to the sea life after these experiments. That's why there are fish that look like mermaids and all kinds of weird prehistoric alien fish because of all these nuclear bombs that the government exploded in the ocean. Fun stuff. That's why SpongeBob can talk. Charlie Brown has cancer. Yeah, not a happy theory. The most obvious clue that Charlie Brown has cancer is that he is mostly bald except for a small tuft of hair at the front of his head. And throughout the whole show, he never grows hair. No other character in the show appears as bald, so it implies that this wasn't just an odd artistic style. The character was literally intended to be bald. The other odd thing about Charlie Brown is his down and out personality. He's constantly dealing with existential crisis way deeper than any normal 8-year-old should ever have to contemplate. The theory goes on to suggest that the reason that nothing ever works out for him and his life is always a disaster is because he's in a hospital bed, slowly fading away and projecting his sadness into his dreams. Sorry, Charlie. So basically they're saying he's hallucinating everything and none of it is real. Okay, way to crush my childhood. Ash Ketchum from Pokemon. If you haven't heard of Pokemon, you've been living under a rock. Comment below your favorite Pokemon besides Pikachu. Has been in a coma ever since the first episode. So basically, this is all just his coma dream. None of it is real. Despite 20 years of adventures, Ash never gets any older. Well, that's every cartoon. Because if they age the character, then kids his age can't relate to him anymore. And he somehow keeps discovering more and more new Pokemon that the world didn't know about in earlier seasons. That's because those new Pokemon don't exist. Yes, they do. Do not ruin my game. They're all part of Ash's coma dream, which also explains why every town has the same nurse and police officer. What? I never noticed that. Do they have the same people? What if they just move a lot? I think when I played Pokemon for the first time on my DS as a kid, comment below if you have a DS, when you have to pick between a fire, water, or a nature Pokemon, I picked fire and water usually. But I think water was like my go-to. In the very first episode, Ash and Pikachu are attacked by a flock of sparrows in a thunderstorm when Pikachu blasts everything in the area with a massive jolt of electricity, with Ash at ground zero of the attack. Seriously, you expect Pikachu's electricity to hit everything except for Ash, who's right next to him? Yeah, right. But then he walks off into the sunset like he didn't just sustain a near-lethal electrocution. Or so you thought. That shock could have knocked him out and he's been in a coma ever since. All the monsters in Courage the Cowardly Dog are just normal people. This is how dogs see everyone except for their owners. Courage lives in the middle of nowhere with his elderly owners, Eustace and Muriel. Every single other character in the show is some variety of a scary monster because he doesn't know them, which is exactly how your dog sees every door-to-door salesman and the mailman, unfamiliar neighbor or animal that walks within 100 feet of your house. It makes a lot of sense once you realize that no matter how seemingly doomed the situation has become, they never bat an eye because they're just regular people stopping by the house. Literally a demon is screaming at Eustace and he's like, "Shut up, dog, it's just my friend." Garfield is hallucinating while starving to death. That's why he's always hungry. He can eat 10 times his own body weight and still feel hungry. Why? I mean, what's wrong with that? Because that's what I do. Garfield was abandoned long ago by John, and he's slowly starving to death while hallucinating the memories of a more comfortable life. This theory was even shown to be true in the 1989 Garfield Halloween special, long time ago. Garfield wakes up to find the house empty, then looks outside to find the windows boarded up and the grass overgrown. It proves so traumatic that he forces himself back into the hallucination and the weekly strip could continue. But now we know the truth. None of it is real. And he was abandoned by his owner. That's so sad. Ed, and Eddie are dead. Have any of you ever even heard of this cartoon? It was a while ago. Is it even still on TV? Comment below if you've ever even heard of this show. I used to watch it in secret because my mom didn't want me to watch it because she thought it was inappropriate. So yeah, the theory is that they're all dead. The theory suggests that the cul-de-sac that they all live in is some kind of purgatory for children. The most obvious supporting point is that no adults appear in a single episode of the show. Every single kid seems to live by themselves and no one ever mentions parents. If they're in purgatory, that means they're stuck like they did something wrong, right? What did they do? They're children. Then there's the fact that every character has a pallid complexion and green or blue tongues. What does pallid mean? Someone tell me. I'm sorry, I'm kind of slow. A color change that really happens when people die. Oh my gosh! In fact, the only characters in the show that don't have the blue-green corpse tongue are the Canker sisters, who live outside of the cul-de-sac and exist only to torment the main characters. Why? Because they're demons and torment is their job. Like my middle school bullies. They just never let it go. That's really sad. Basically, the theory for all of these cartoons is that everyone's dead or dying. Why do y'all have to make kids shows so dark? But anyways, comment below your favorite cartoon. And that is it for some dark cartoon conspiracy theories. Comment below if you have some of your own that we didn't talk about. And as always, subscribe, turn on all notifications, and follow me on social media, and I'll see you tomorrow.